Welcome to 32 Bar Cut the Show, a show where we talk with our friends about what it's like to be a performer. Today on 32 Bar Cut the Show, we are sitting down with Broadway's Derrick Cobey.
It's time to welcome on our guest, my favorite by far, a Broadway star,
Derrick Cobey.
On 32 Bar Cut.
You may have seen him opening the show at Kiss Me Kate, but today he is sitting down with us to chat about his life as a professional performer. Welcome to the show, Derrick Cobey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Derrick?
I'm good. Hi.
You're managing? I mean, I know this is different circumstances. How really are you doing? How have you been?
You know what? I have to be honest. Every day feels different. Every day it changes, and the weather affects it, and I just think every day changes. And sometimes I want to curl up in a ball, and sometimes I'm like, let's cook, and let's be active and all that stuff. So overall, very good, but it's not constant. So I'm trying to find the constant, but maybe I don't need to find the constant. Maybe it's what it is. So
yeah, I can identify with that for sure. Like, it's funny the first time when you just said it's different every day, I thought, well, my life is the same every day. There's, but I get what you mean, that how you feel about it is different every day, and how you approach the day. And maybe you have a little more energy this Wednesday, but then Saturday you're like, no, I don't want to talk to anybody, put my phone on silent,
Yeah. Maybe, one day I'm like, oh, let's Zoom. I want to Zoom with my friend. And then the next day I'm like, and not because I don't love my friends or my family. It's just like, that.
I can identify with that for sure.
Yeah.
So where were you when, where were you up to? Because I know we've kept in touch off and on since 2019 when we did Kiss Me Kate together, but I don't know what you were up to in March of last year when this all went down. What were you up to?
I was in Utah.
Oh, wow.
At the Pioneer Theater Company, and I was doing a production of Once on This Island. And we came back March 8th, and then 3 days later, I think we were on lockdown. I was like, I was kind of glad I got out of Utah before that.
You got back just in time.
I got back just in time. And then the plan was to go to Philly right after that to do another production of Once on This Island. So that's where I was, and then this is where I've ended up. So yeah.
And for everyone watching, Derrick is in Manhattan, New York. That's where he is. We're over here in Brooklyn, and we get a chance to do this virtually and connect. And it's really good to see your face, because I haven't seen you. Oh my God, not since opening night. Closing night.
I was like, whoa. We did have a scene together on stage. You were like one of the first people I saw. Maybe you didn't see me.
I'm sorry. I'm actually nearsighted, so I just need people to be a little closer for me to catch who they are.
I got it.
No, but is the last time we saw each other, was it closing night?
I think that's right. That's actually right. Yeah. That's not, has it been that long? Wait a minute. How long was that?
Well, see, it's weird because it only would have been a few months, but then March hit and none of us saw each other, right? Like,
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you went back to work, and I went out of town because regional theater is where my money is sometimes. So that's exactly what it was. This whole year, it's been another oh my goodness, it's been a year of not seeing people face to face, and I didn't realize until the other day, after the holidays and stuff were done, then all of a sudden you were like, oh, we're almost back to the start of this whole
back
thing.
to the start. Yeah.
Yeah, because the holidays can distract you. Sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yeah, the holidays were distracting. It
It was
was a little
distracting.
respite from all of the real that we were
Yeah.
experiencing, and then yeah.
Yeah, you're like, okay, let's do Thanksgiving. All right, Christmas. Okay, a little New Year's celebration. Oh, and then we had all the other political stuff and all that. So yeah, and then once it all kind of like washed away a little bit, now yeah. Anyway,
So
yeah,
I was doing some research on you because like I know so very little about you. And it's crazy because I feel like we got close on Kiss Me Kate pretty quickly. Like I just felt like a connection with you. But then we didn't get the chance to really sit down and chat about each other's lives. And so I was like, well, let me get on this Google and do some research on Derrick Cobey. And it sounds like to me, so was your Broadway debut Scottsboro Boys?
my Broadway debut was Scottsboro Boys. Yep,
Oh
sure
my
was.
God.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. What was that like? What was it like to be in a show like that? I want to hear everything. I want to hear about the audition. I want to, did y'all do some readings? Did you do a workshop? Like, I want to hear it all. I want to hear the whole thing.
Okay, so the first the audition, I was working sample sales as you do, my side job, and I was on the floor selling high end fashion stuff, and I got a call from my agent. Oh wait, I'm gonna go back really for a little bit back.
Okay.
I was hanging out with a group of friends, just chilling, having some cocktails, conversation, and this guy I meet him for the first time. His name is Bone, and we're just having a good time, and all of a sudden he goes, there's a show coming out that's coming out soon, and I think you'd be perfect for it. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, Bone.
Yeah, okay, Bone. So anyway, I ended up learning that Bone is John Cantor's assistant. Um, so I totally threw it away, and then fast forward like a month or two later, my agent calls me while I'm on the floor doing selling clothes, and he goes, "All right, Susan Stroman, they want you to come in for this show called the Scottsboro."
Oh my God.
And this is so bad, but I had gotten into this work mode, and I was like, I just need to pay bills. I can't leave the floor. I was also nervous because I'm like, I know Susan Stroman because Center Stage is one of my favorite movies, and I knew producers and all this, and I was like, I'm on the phone with my agent. I'm like, well, I really can't come in today, blah, blah. And I was like, can I come in another time? And he goes, no. They're not going to wait for you. Like this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So I'm like, okay. So I go up to my manager. And I'm like, I got to go. I got to go to this thing. So I went to the audition and sang. And my favorite thing, so they're behind the table. It's John Cantor, David Lauder, music director of Stro. And I walk in, and she gets up from behind the table, walks up to me, shakes my hand, says, hi, I'm Susan Stroman. I'm so glad you came in, blah, blah. Just very, very warm, inviting. It's one of the first times first time anyone's gotten up from the table that I didn't know personally to come like shake my hand and say, welcome to the room. Mm-hmm. So that felt great. So I ended up singing, doing a monologue, whatever. And then I got called back, and I'm like, oh, the next few days was like dance time. I was like, oh God. Because it's not my forte. So I can move. I mean, I got moves in me, but anyway, so we get to the dance call, and I mean, so many people up there, because at that time it was one of the only Black musicals running.
Yeah.
I think maybe Memphis was right before it or around it or something like that. But this was like a show for young Black men to get in. And they, New York, they called every Black man they knew, every Black man. And so I went in, and we all get in that room to get ready to dance. And, the dancers are stretched. And
oh my God, it's so intimidating.
It's intimidating. I went outside and took a break. I was like, I just need like 5 minutes.
These dancers are touching their faces with their toes, and
Yeah,
I'm intimidated. Yeah.
exactly. So we get to the dance and I'm fine. I'm like doing this one part. And then we get to the tap break. And I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't do it. And and actually in college, my dance instructor in college was a short little Asian woman, love her to death. And she was like, we'd be in tap class at 8 a.m. and I couldn't stand it. And she goes, you have to learn how to tap. You're Black.
Oh, no. Like, oh, God.
Well, I only let it slide because she was Asian. So it's like, we're both colored. So, okay. Anyway, so she was right because we get to the tap part and I just look at Stro and I'm just like,
no.
And she like smiles at me. She like smiled. And I was like, okay, all right. So I walked out of the room that day and I called my agent. I'm like, I don't know what happened in there. Like but I want to work with her. I want to work on this project. I like what it's about. I like the script. I like the score. I love her energy. And I was like, I want to do it, whatever. So anyway, then I got a call and then we did a workshop of it. And then we took it to the Vineyard. And that's where we like built the show. The Vineyard is very good with producing new works because they take their time and it's a more intimate space. And so that's where we first started building the show. And then we got extended at the Vineyard. And then we took it to the Guthrie to do our out of town tryout, which I think they're very important. I think out of town tryouts are important, especially just to get out of New York City from the hustle and the bustle and, all the producers in the room and all this, just to go like do the work. Like,
yeah, you have to protect it. It's the creative process needs to be protected. And when all eyes are on it and you got critics coming around and even casting directors coming around and sometimes even your friends, it doesn't protect the show. Yes,
exactly. And yeah, it's like going on an artist retreat, just away. So then, we took it to the Guthrie and it got extended there. And then they actually announced at the end of the Vineyard that we were coming to Broadway, but we were going to go out of town first. So that was the audition process and the start of it. And that part. And then, the process itself was pretty amazing because from the get-go, I remember sitting down with Stro, us all sitting down, and she's like, I am a white Jewish woman from the Upper East or West Side. I don't know what it is to be in this specific show in the Scottsboro Boys. I don't know what that is. And I'm not going to fake it and act like I do know what that is. That's why I hired you, this group specifically, to tell the story, which I just always respected and appreciated it. I was like, thank you. Like, that felt good. So then we got together and the boys, when I first met them, like Christian Dante White, Julius Thomas, all the Josh Breckenridge, these really wonderful people. We, the beginning of rehearsals, we all went up to the Schoenberg, which is in Harlem, a library, like old school historic library, because there was so much of the Scottsboro Boys that wasn't written down. Because in that time, no one cared. They were just like, these boys did this, blah, blah. Here are their names. Here are their ages. That's it, mainly. So we went in and, microfiche?
No.
It's so old school. It's like, it's newspaper printed on almost like clear plastic that you put under a magnifying glass. And it's all these old articles that are stored on it. So you have to like go to the card catalog, look up Andy Wright, go to the card, blah, 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 put it in, and you get these like almost blurry-ish prints. And that's how we started learning about these boys as much as we could, as much information as we could. So, and that to me, that was a really special day because I was like, oh, this cast is like, we're ready to like dive into the work. We're not just putting on just like some show. We want to tell it right. We want to tell the story right. And that inspired me. So we did that. And then, one day Stro sat down and you know what it is? I think we almost talked more about the show and about the specificity and what we were trying to convey more than we did like the dance numbers and stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's one thing, right? We can do the dance steps. We can know our numbers, know all this. But the intention behind it and what we stood for was way more important. So one day she goes, I need you guys to come back, like school, come back with backstories for these characters. So we did the library thing. And then Julius and I played brothers, Andy Wright and Roy Wright. I was Andy, he was Roy. And we went to a coffee shop near Union Square, near the Vineyard. And we just sat down and we created, from the knowledge we had already learned, the real knowledge, and we created a backstory for ourselves as brothers. And then everybody else went in and we shared the stories in the circle. And it was just something special about it because I thought we were all on one accord. We all had the same passion for the truthfulness of the story. Mm-hmm. So that was the beginning of the rehearsal process. Yeah.
And you're honoring these souls that really lived and experienced this. And I think I love the way that was handled, Yeah.
Yeah. It's important. Exactly. We're honoring their lives. And that's the whole musical is about the truth, telling the truth. Mm-hmm. There's a whole song called Make Friends with the Truth. And so it was important for all of us because it could have been us. That could have been us if we were born in that time period, in 1920. It could have easily been us. Mm-hmm. So, and it was wrong the way they were treated. And it was, so it was important to be on top of it and be honest about it. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's a really incredible Broadway debut because there's nothing easy about a Broadway debut. There's so much pressure, but then on top of that, to have material that's so heavy and important and that can fashion history, because any depiction of something historical kind of goes along the trajectory of that historical event, Yeah. So what happened to them is also going to be wrapped up in the history of a musical being written about them or a movie being written about them. And so, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty remarkable. Yeah. I remember you telling me one day in rehearsal at Kiss Me Kate that you were in that cast. And I was like, wow, and I haven't gotten a chance to see Scottsboro Boys, but just knowing the history of it was enough for me to know how important it was,
Yeah, it was, to me, it's the most interesting storytelling I've ever seen. And because we use a format of a minstrel show, mm-hmm. But Can or Never that's kind of their thing. Like Chicago is, the roaring, 20s, I think it is, and speakeasies and all that. And, cabaret is the underground clubs in the, Germany. So anyway, it was, yes, I want to go back to what you said. That's the best way I kind of want to make my debut. About something important that meant something and made you think and made you feel and originate a character, but not a character, somebody who's real. Yeah. I think it was meant to be my debut, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I think that's what I think the timing, I think that's what it was. I think that was the project. Yeah.
It started with that night on the town with Bone saying, hey, you know what? I got a show for you. And you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And then it turned into this magical moment that will stay with you forever, I'm sure.
Forever. Yeah. Really.
I want to go back a bit with you because you said that so you're in New York, you're working on the sales floor, you're doing regional theater off and on. But what really is your story? Like, you already had an agent. So how did you get your agent? Did you go to theater school? Like, I have so many questions.
Well, back in well, I'll just go like a little further back. I grew up in church, right? And I was a choir director for a while. And this is like at age 11. My mom was a minister in the church. And then I decided, at 11, I was like, oh, that choir could sound better.
Ooh.
Oh, this could be better. This could be better. So then I was directing the choir, and I'm like, I want to learn piano. Because I realized that the piano player is the real director in the gospel, in like the Baptist church.
Mm-hmm.
They pick the songs, they pick the soloist, they teach the parts. So I was like, oh, this is a power move.
Old 11-year-old Derrick Cobey.
11-year-old Derrick Cobey. So I started playing piano and grew up in church singing. And actually the choir, the children's choir, when I started with them, now it's been a few years, like 15 or 16, we had built to like 125 kids, and we had started with 20.
Wow.
So anyway, that was like the beginning of it. Then I ended up going to Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied opera performance, and that was fine. I liked it, but I realized it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
I respect it so much, but I'm like, if I want to sing in a foreign language, I have to know what I'm talking about. I have to know every word, or otherwise I just feel like, beautiful notes. Yay, great. So anyway, I started studying there, and then after a year of Duke Ellington, they called on, because it was tuition if you didn't live in the city proper.
Wow.
And we lived 20 minutes outside in Alexandria, Virginia. And my parents were like, you're almost about to go to college. We can't pay for it. So I was like, fine, that's fine. Went back to my high school in Virginia. And then we took a trip to New York City, and I saw Showboat, one of my first musicals.
Really?
Yes. How Prince directed it. Susan Stroman choreographed it.
Stop.
Yeah.
Did you tell her that was your first Broadway show?
I did. Yeah, I did. I totally did. Of course I did. Because to me, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to sing. I want to act. I want to tell a story, and I want it to mean something. I want to be moving. And I was like, that's what I need to do. So I left opera and those yellow books. Did you ever sing those yellow arts books? Yes. Oh, God.
All the art songs. All the art songs. All the oratorio. All of it.
Yeah. No.
The IPA at the top. What are the vowels? Oh, my God. Is this an ah or a Oh, my God.
All of that.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Moving on.
which was fine for like ballet for dancers. It's fine. It's good to learn the whatever,
Sure. The fundamentals.
The fundamentals. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, then I saw that, and I went to school at Baldwin Wallace, which is in Ohio, outside of Cleveland, and studied musical theater. And I was the only Black student for about 2 years.
Wow.
Only one in my class. And then for 2 years, until we actually went out and recruited. We tried to recruit more students of color. That was Vicki Bussard, who runs the program. She kind of used me to help kind of do that to gain more in the program. So then after that, we did a showcase in New York, and I picked up an agent. And yeah, that was the beginning of that.
Those New York showcases, man, they can put people on.
They really can.
It's a really good opportunity, I think.
It's really good, and it's just different in the way of what is the thing where you meet different directors or casting directors for like maybe 3 minutes. Actors connection.
I haven't done anything like that. Is it kind of like a speed dating thing for?
Like a speed dating thing, and that's the difference with the showcase. It's because they're not getting they're not getting paid to be there. They're coming there because they want to recruit and they trust that this school is bringing them great products. I hate that word for it, but and so yeah, it was very helpful. And also the thing with the showcase is you have people like Vicky who puts together you and your best presentation, and that's and then they get and the casting directors watch and they go, as opposed to the speed dating version, which is a little harder. And also you don't I don't know if you sing at those or not. I don't know. I never did it, but yeah. So and then I got the agent and yeah. So.
Yeah, and I can imagine the setup of a showcase too is a performance rather than this speed dating thing that neither of us have done and don't really know how it works. Feels more like an audition, and the stakes are so high in an audition that you sometimes people are really great at putting their best foot forward, but most of the time, it's difficult. And so I think a showcase is like, look, we ran this over and over. I feel really good. I got my scene partner or whatever, and you can shine. So
yeah, and and you can give a solid performance. Yeah. So then I got the agent, and then that was interesting too because that was the whole thing back then. Because some agents rub you the wrong way, and you're like, ooh, I don't think. No,
not a good fit.
No, not a good fit. But that took some time to learn at a young age because I was just like, thank God I have representation. Let's go. And then, as you grow and you mature and you see what you offer also, you learn who you want to work with because they work for you too. I mean, they work for you. I remember one agent, I won't name the name. I want to drop names all over this. But,
so this one agent, they
rhymes with. Anyway, one day, one of my favorite things about him, he was like, I was just going in for a little meeting just to say hi. We'd already met. He already was going to bring me on. And he goes, do you have a headshot and resume in your bag? And I was like, he already had one. He was testing me. He's like, I was like, no, I'm coming to see you on my lunch break. There's nothing happening. He goes, you always have it on you. You always have your resume headshot. I was like, is this the
80s? What's happening? There's the internet. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into Telsey and they're like, no, we're good. We have your stuff.
I mean, it's amazing.
Save the trees
and save me time. Save me time. I have to learn all these lyrics. Now I have to go print these.
Yes. And type this. Oh my gosh. Now I keep prints. I go to Autorama. I think that's the name of the site I go to. And I'll print 35 headshots. And I'll just have them. And then when it starts running low, I'm like, look, I need to order. When am I going to get through 35 headshots? I don't know. But I have them because the days of running to CVS or Walgreens or FedEx or Staples to print a headshot, I need it to be done. I need it to be over.
I hear you.
I cannot stapling my headshot before I walk. I cannot.
I know.
But that's what happens when you're broke and you're a theater, aspiring theater performer and you're broke and you have to pay as you go. You can't I don't even think I had a stapler, but they know it because you go to the equity office and you're waiting in line to go in. And what's there at the front? A stapler,
totally.
A highlighter, a pen. Totally. What you need. We know you don't have nothing.
I think sometimes there'd be cutting boards.
Yes.
I'm serious.
Yes. Paper cutters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They know that our headshots aren't trimmed because we got them at Walgreens and our paper is 8 by 11 or 8.5 by 11, whatever the measurement is. They know.
It's true. It's true. Oh my gosh, Adrienne, there was one time that same agent that we shall not mention, they said to me, I don't like this headshot. It's too gummy.
Gummy? Oh, wow. Wow.
I said, okay.
This isn't going to work.
It's not going to work.
How
You're not
dare
gonna
you
do that.
disrespect my gum and teeth ratio?
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
And yes, leave it alone. And I'm not. I consider myself to be a very honest person, and that's how I want to be represented. I'm not going to go around smiling like,
This.
yeah, like that, like yeah, like that.
Austin is laughing.
I just spit out my coffee.
Oh my God. No, but that's true. That's not who you are.
Exactly.
And if someone hires you, this is who you are.
Yep. Yep.
And we're not
So-
trying to be out here being inauthentic. Like, what's the point?
Exactly.
There's room for you just the way
Exactly.
you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to learn. You have to learn as you grow, decide what you're going to accept and who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with.
Absolutely.
It's important for any life lesson, not even just theater, but
Yeah, even in relationships,
yeah.
Because it is relationships. Business is
Yeah.
relationships. And if you
Yeah.
have someone that makes you feel badly about yourself, then especially when they're your agent, you gotta look into that and figure out why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for that agent story. Like I needed that. I needed that real good.
Oh gosh. And then I'll tell you one more. There was another one that I met with who I said, no. crazy acting. And very old school acting, like basically should have had a cigarette ashtray on the desk and be like, so what is it you do? Like that kind of.
Oh my gosh. I have sat in on one of those before. And you're just like, this is old New York.
Old New York.
Oh my
Old New
God.
York. And then you say no. And then like 4 years ago, I hadn't seen her, this person. And I hadn't seen this person in maybe 12 years. And they saw me in a production of Ragtime like 4 years ago and was so excited to bring me in, to sign me. I was like, no, we've been down this path.
I know who you are.
I know who you are.
I know you, Josephine. No, that's real. It's remarkable when you have these bad experiences with people in the past, and then a few years go by, and for them it's water under the bridge, but you never forget how someone made you feel. And
Yeah.
so you might not remember the circumstances or anything, or you might remember it clear as day. But if they left a bad taste in your mouth and now you have the upper hand to say no,
Yeah.
then you're going to say no.
I'm going to say no. And I was at the beginning, I didn't sign right away. I freelanced with 2 different agents because I wanted to test the waters out. I wanted to see who was doing what. I didn't want to sign my career over to somebody and not see them not do the work or be, I don't want to say the word abusive, but like a neglectful agent. I wanted to test the waters out.
Yeah.
So I was a believer in that until maybe 7 years ago. Then I was like, I found somebody I really like. I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable signing with you for the next, 2 years or such. But before that I wanted to test the waters out. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said earlier that regional theater is like your bread and butter. See,
Love.
and I was going to ask you that. Like, do you have a preference? It sounds like you just revealed your preference.
I love it. To me, it's a place where you can actually learn.
Mm.
You work with other artists. Again, you're away from New York City, right? So away from all the noise, beautiful noise, but you're away from that noise. And, like the Broadway, it's such a machine.
Yep.
And there's no time for it's 5, 6, 7, 8. There's not really a lot of time for questions and blah, blah. But when you're at a regional theater and everyone's there for that, 3-week, 4-week rehearsal, even your director, you live in the same complex or you live close, you can talk, you can sit at tech and not have to be on stage, and you can sit in the audience and you can watch the sound designer work. You can watch the director work. You can watch the choreographer work, and you can watch people on stage work. As opposed to like the Broadway machine, it's like when you're not on used, there's something that's probably being happened.
Yeah.
You're probably meeting with wardrobe or the hair department. Something's being done, or
Yeah.
you know. And to me, the regional theater world, it's where you really, like, even during Kiss Me Kate, there were so many scenes that I don't even think I ever saw. Like,
there's scenes I've never ever seen.
Yeah.
And there was no chance of me seeing them. Like,
and there's no chance.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So then when you go to a regional theater, you can actually sit in and you can watch people's work ethic, and you can watch how they make choices. And I feel like the process is a little more cohesive. I had to say that, especially about something compared to Scottsboro was a different thing, because Scottsboro almost felt like we were at a regional house, and we did go to a regional house.
You had the time. Yeah.
We had the time. And so that's one of the reasons I love regional theater. And the other thing is, well, the learning, the listening and learning and watching and being able to have conversations. Or even, like, you know, if you finish a show here in New York, you go home. You're tired.
But in regional theater, you hang out. You make friends. Out, yeah.
And you can learn from them. You can really learn each other and yeah, that kind of stuff. That, like I said, work ethic and all that. And also, you know, Broadway isn't always consistent depending on who you are or where you are or what you want to do. And the regional world, it's like, if you make a good mark, or if you represent yourself well at a regional theater and you do your gig and I think if you're a joy to work with and all that stuff, they'll have you back.
They will have you back. Yep.
They will have you back, and they'll have your back. So, you know, like, even during this, I've done some projects for Philly as my go-to regional, like, theater home. And they've called me during this, even if it's something small, you know? And so it's lovely to have that kind of support. And almost, it gets overused so much, but family.
I thought you were going to say something very overused. That's not too much overused.
Well, you know, everyone puts a show, they're like, oh, that's my family. You're like, was it really? Okay.
Do you think that it comes down to money? Like, I'm curious about this because I got my start in the Chicago theater market, right? And I had some great memories, and I grew in that market. And I felt like I was taken care of because I was so green. And then I moved up on the ladder. You know what I mean? Like, so at first I was just understudying and in the ensemble, maybe one line, you know, or not even a line. And then moving up to actually getting a chance to do a principal role. But I almost felt like, even though it was professional theater, it almost felt like my own theater program moving through Chicago like that. And yeah. I wonder, because I felt a stark difference when I got to New York, and I wonder if it has to do with the stakes, like if it's so much more money involved that people, they don't have time for you. They don't have time for mistakes. They don't have time for growth. They don't have time for sensitivities, you know? And I don't think every director is like that, but I think that it's different, and it doesn't serve the creatives at times. I will say it doesn't serve the creative spirit of theater.
I agree. Yeah. Because I think you're right. I think it's definitely a lot to do with money, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen in New York City, and at that level, because again, money, and time. They have deadlines. You know, They have all these deadlines because not only top of the show being up, press releases and all these things you got to get. I mean, it almost doesn't stop. You almost don't get to like just sit in your project like you can do, I think, in a regional theater. And something you said before, you know, the other thing that I love about regional theater is that you can go out and you can hone your skill and play Coal House and Ragtime at a regional theater, which you might not get a chance to do here in New York.
Absolutely.
It comes back every 10, 15 years. And if your name is not Brian Stokes Mitchell.
Right. You won't be there.
Yeah. you can be in that ensemble back there. But like, so that's another thing that I love about regional theaters. You can go out and you can test your artistry, your limits, and what you can do. Because, you know, most of the people, even here in New York City on the Broadway stage, even ensemble, have strong quality things they can bring and stuff.
Yes.
And it's not always used. You know, it depends on the show and what your part serves in it. But I think in regional theater, you have more opportunity to like really like dive into who you are as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
As an actor, you know, there are many times, you know, in big shows, I won't just say Broadway anymore, but big shows. And if you're an ensemble, I mean, sometimes you're moving the table. You know what I mean? Sometimes and you're not using all of your skill sets. So that's what you get to do when you go to a regional theater. You know, I can do Parade, or I can do Sondheim at a regional theater. I can do The Prince and Into the Woods at a regional theater. That might not happen here in New York. So that's where my love comes from it. And just meeting different like directors, different creators in different parts of the world, in these different cities who they behave in a different way, or they create in a different way. And I just love that part about it. I mean, and who doesn't want to go sit down in Chicago for 3 months?
Yeah.
That's not something you can do all the time.
Well, maybe not January through March.
Absolutely not.
If we push those 3 months to June through August or something like that, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Better yet, the fall. Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, totally. So that's my love for regional theater. And I don't know.
Well, we are about to get into our stage door round, where I ask you a few questions that you might hear at the stage door. Are you ready?
Okay.
I didn't include this in our little preliminary chat.
Yeah, like, what's happening?
That's right. It's a little surprise. But they're easy questions. They're easy questions.
Okay.
They're fun, lighthearted, I think. Okay. What are your dressing room must-haves?
I would say ginger.
Like raw ginger or ginger
Raw
juice?
ginger.
Raw ginger. Okay.
Raw ginger. Some type of green tea. I tend to go towards matcha if I can just go get it somewhere. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and like
You're not going
to do the
bamboo brush.
No time. I'm usually already running late, so it's like, that's a must-have. What else? I guess some kind of pictures, you know, like a family of my brother, people who inspire me. And what else do I have to have? Depending on what it is. Like if I'm doing a show like I said, Ragtime, or I played Frederick Douglass in Civil War once, I have to have pictures. Or like Scottsboro Boys, I have to have their picture. Just something to connect to for me. To just remember what it's about. So that's like usually a go-to. Like during Kiss Me Kate, I didn't have a picture of a stage manager, which for people who don't know, I played the stage manager, but I don't like have a picture of it.
You didn't need any inspiration?
Don't need the inspiration. A stage door man, not stage manager. I walk past them every day. I get it. Okay. But so I guess pictures. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of it. I don't really have a lot of stuff that I have to have.
Well, there's no wrong answer. I mean,
right.
Ginger, a photo, and some green tea or matcha. Yeah.
Matcha. Yeah, some water.
Yeah, well, you gotta have something.
Get some water.
Hydrate.
Oh, and then my headphones. That's it. Because sometimes I don't want to hear people, so.
Hey, that's real. That's real.
Actually, that's important to put on the list. Headphones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question is a 2-part question. What was your least favorite part about Kiss Me Kate, and what was your favorite part about Kiss Me Kate?
Ooh, my least part of it. Well, on one side, I would say my least part was because of the run. Like I said before, because of the length of the run, and we were coming upon Tony's season. Excuse me.
That was a rough few weeks.
Yeah, I just felt like sometimes in that show, we never got to breathe and just do the show. Yeah. Especially towards the end, yeah.
Because of Tony's season, and I think we had a couple of injuries, and we had a couple people leave the show, and it was always in motion, and we were always adjusting, and yeah, I would agree. We didn't have enough time to really settle in, and before you knew it, 3 weeks after the Tonys, we were closing, and the Tonys was a whirlwind. Like, I didn't even go to the Tony after party.
You know what? By the way, I thought about that today.
Do you need to get a sip of water? Are you okay?
Oh, God, thanks.
Yeah, get a sip of... Oh, that's cute. Is that rose gold?
No, I think it's some copper thing, but it's a... Have you heard of Ember mugs?
No, but I know you have because you're bougie.
Okay.
Tell me about Amber mugs, Derrick.
Here's a plug for Amber mugs. So I was looking for a Christmas gift and for someone, not myself, but they're mugs that you sit on and you can control the temperature from your phone. So
See, that's what I'm talking about. I did not know you were going to say something crazy like that, but I should have known. Okay, go ahead. I've interrupted you too much.
I mean, who wants to pick up a cold coffee?
This is true. Nobody likes a cold coffee. It's disappointing.
Wait, what was I? Oh, the least favorite parts? Oh, I'm going to keep going on that. No, I also couldn't stand it. No, you know what? I have to say one more part. It was just small. Because it was such a big show. It felt like sometimes we didn't have a lot of time with Scott. Mm-hmm. The ensemble didn't have a lot of time with Scott. So sometimes I missed that. I mean, Warren is amazing. He's great. It's fabulous. But, there was, as dancing as, like, for me, my third thing. Yeah. I always wanted to, like, do some more with the
director and the building of it. Yeah. I think he really knew how much time he had, and he focused on key components. Like, he was like, okay, I got to focus on Lily, and I can't even remember. Is it Frank?
Fred.
Fred.
Frank was me.
Fred.
I was Frank.
I'm sorry, Frank. I'm sorry. He was, I think Scott was like, I got to focus on Lily and Fred, and maybe I have a little time for, Corbin and Stephanie. I'm sorry, I cannot remember the characters' names right now. But and then I think he saved the rest for Tech, and then he had that crossover with Tootsie's. But I know what you're saying. Like, it would have been nice to have a little more time just to know what the vision was, so we would all be on the same page, because there was a bit of guesswork happening.
Yes,
like
definitely.
Is this the vision?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And definitely. And like, because of that same thing, it's like, I covered people and understudied people, but I didn't have time.
You didn't know what talked. Yeah.
I didn't know where they came from. Yeah.
And that's what happens too, I think, when you are in a rehearsal space and there's different rooms and things are happening in different rooms, that you can't sit in on the characters you're covering.
Yeah.
You should be able to sit in on their rehearsals and take in whatever their process is. But if you are also in the ensemble or playing another part, then they utilized every minute.
Every minute.
And I will just say too, that I was running around the Lion King telling everybody that I wasn't going to have to jump no more for the next 6 months. And then Warren Carlisle happened. So, I mean, it became one of my favorite parts, though. Jumping.
Yeah.
Because at first I was terrified of it, but then I was like, we're doing it and we're doing it together, you know? Like,
Totally. I mean, that actually brings me into your second part of the question. That question is, I would say our group as a whole made me the happiest. Yeah. It really did. You know, like you said, we had some challenges that happened. But I felt like people had each other's backs a lot. Mm-hmm. And the support was there. You know, of course, like any show, it can get stressful at times. But overall, I felt like as a group, we were most of us were on the same page, including Kelly, of wanting to do a great show and B, have a good time doing it. Yeah, you know. So like Too Darn Hot.
Too Darn Hot was a party.
Favorite thing to do with everybody. That was like one of the first times I remember. I think I said it to you backstage or something. It's one of the first times you actually get to see everybody, but not like you doing the opening number, because the opening number was so. Here's the character. Here's the move, set up, boom, boom. Too Darn Hot was just us on the stage, chilling, doing our number. Yeah. And supporting, breathing through it, and feeling that same energy together. Yeah. So that's what I would say would be my favorite, was that part of it.
And Warren kind of told you where to look too. He's like, no, look over here. Okay, now check this out. All right, now I want you to see this feature. You know, he was definitely like a painter designing the whole landscape. And
I mean, I wish we didn't start. Say again.
Got my mug.
Oh my goodness! Of course. Whoa, what was I gonna say? Oh, I mean, I wish we hadn't started with Too Darn Hot the first day of rehearsals.
Well, you know what? I got completely set up.
Why?
Because they scheduled my shoe fitting. I don't know who thought that the shoe fitting was only 10 minutes, but they scheduled my shoe fitting, which was a 3-avenue walk over to
you had to go to Luca?
I went to Leduca, and then the fitting was 45 minutes. And so I missed the first day of rehearsal. And so they changed the schedule the next day, and it was just me, James, Warren working on Too Darn Hot. And for me, someone who's not a dancer, I was terrified. I was like, this is where they replaced me. I'm about to be replaced. But I think, I don't know, Warren had a little faith, and he was like, no, I'm going to make this girl dance. So anyway.
It was fabulous. Yeah.
Are you ready for the next question?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, I have 2 more questions for you.
Wait, I have one more thing to say about... No, I'm just kidding.
Do you really?
No, nothing.
Okay. All right. So I imagine that our listeners and viewers don't know this, but you were thrown on one day for one of the gangsters. What was going through your head?
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. What was going on through my head? Ooh, it's so surreal. The first thing that was going on in my head was all those Shakespeare lyrics and references, because they're 2 gangsters, right? And they're doing Brush Up Your Shakespeare. But the funniness the humor that comes from it is them being solid on these references and the names and, the history, the historical artifacts. And I was like, I cannot screw up these words. So that was the first thing. The scenes, I was like, oh, that's fine, great, I got that. We can do that. It was mainly that song. It was Brush Up, and also I take that back. It was also the inner workings of the backstage. Oh yeah. When do I go grab this? When do I grab the gun from stage management? When do I go put on this thing? Where do I go? Because again, in the ensemble of Kate, we were usually pretty busy. I mean, you're always getting ready for something else. I mean, I think I had 6 costumes or something. Yeah. So I never got to really track and see people sing. It's easy for somebody to write down. Then you cross under stage left and visit. Okay. But to physically like go through the motions of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember us ever having a full out, like that kind of.
Where you get to mirror somebody. Well, not mirror, but follow someone throughout their track. Yeah.
Yeah. Shadow. Follow, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Shadow. I should be able to remember the word shadow. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Okay, here's your last question. And this is one of my favorites to ask everybody. So you're not alone.
Oh, wait.
What's that?
I have to go back. You know what else scared me?
What scared you?
What was going through my head about
the gangster?
Going on that thing?
Yeah.
Because Brush Up Your Shakespeare, the red curtain comes down.
So you thought you were going to die that day.
There is no set to save you. You are in 2 spots and the audience is like this. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man.
You know, that was nerve-wracking. Okay. Anyway.
And it was a matinee, right? So I know the audience was quiet.
Oh God, it was a matinee. Yeah, and it was pretty last minute. Yeah.
Yeah. So. You did it though. You did it. You were amazing. We were all so proud of you. You did it. It was a tall order and you did it. So
thank you. Thanks.
So in the cast of Kiss Me Kate, who would you slap? Who would you hug? I can't finish.
Oh no.
And who would you take to lunch?
How many people can I slap?
1.
Oh shoot.
Oh God.
Oh God. Oh God. I would probably slap Preston.
Why would you slap Preston?
It'd be a love slap. Because we sat next to.
He would slap you back.
He would slap you back. We sat next to each other in the dressing room, you know, and I can be sometimes quite moody. And Preston's like a younger brother who would just be like,
poking you.
Yeah, poking. Like, clearly I'm not in the mood. So I would slap him. What is the other one? Who would I hug?
Yeah.
I would hug you.
You'd hug me. Oh, I would hug you back.
Definitely. And go to lunch with? I would go to lunch with Travis.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. Travis is a good lunch date.
Travis,
he'll have some tea for you, too.
He sure will.
All right. So I saw, Derrick, that you are going to be performing this summer with at the summer concert series at Bristol Riverside Theater.
Yeah.
So we can... Why do you make me laugh so much? Oh my God. Okay. Would you like to stick around for the curtain call?
I would love to, yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So for all of you listening and watching out there, if you would like some more giggles like we are having today, please give Derrick Cobey a follow on Instagram at Derrick Cobey and check him out this summer at the Riverside Theater.
Sweet.
Derrick, I'll see you at the curtain call.
Okay,
Austin,
sounds good.
Play us out.